look nice. I like your little suit jacket.
You know, as we're thinking about the holidays, I thought maybe we should, get snazzy.
Is that how you dress for the holidays? Like you said, we're going to talk about preparing for the holidays today. So I'm just figured I'm feeling really prepared.
You're really prepared.
I'm ready. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm liking the sweater vest and the turtleneck.
Yeah.
I mean, you're really bringing it back.
Mm-hmm.
It's really great. Hey everyone, welcome to
Hi.
the Beth and Deb show. I'm Beth.
I'm Deb.
And we are going to talk about getting ready for the holidays. And we're starting off in kind of a jovial way, but some of these things are going to be really hard to face.
The holidays aren't always a time of joy.
You know what's
Constantly.
funny? Because I think we have this approach to the holidays that's like nostalgic,
Yeah.
right? It's like the holidays always sound like a good idea, and then the reality of it sometimes is
Not
like,
as great.
yeah, you leave being with your family or your friends, and you're like, dang,
Yeah.
what was that about?
Yeah, like personally, I really love all the traditions that are within my little nuclear family, but then bringing some of my more extended family into the mix, it gets complicated because we're a very diverse, different group of people with different kind of thoughts about things. So especially right now when there's so much going on with the pandemic still, like we were talking about, another year of thinking about what are we going to do with big gatherings? Do we feel comfortable with that? And now it's not only about masking, but have you gotten vaccinated? Because we know half of the country just about still has not been vaccinated, and that's kind of the same for our specific area. So your family members are probably part of that.
Yeah.
Not being vaccinated. And maybe
Yeah.
you are. Maybe you watching are part of the unvaccinated.
Yeah. So it is, as we think about this second year of holidays, with the pandemic still going on, with the country still being very divided about whether we should or should not be vaccinated, whether we should or should not mask, I think that we're gonna face another round of holidays where there's gonna be people who, if you're unprepared, are gonna leave feeling very hurt, sad, grieved, disappointed. And so I think this video is perfect timing to help us all get prepared for what this holiday season is going to look like. Because I think if you don't go, if you just show up and you're going to be jolly and merry, you might be leaving disappointed. Yeah,
you might have some interactions or conversations or just moments that feel
tense.
Yeah.
So I think as we were thinking through, what is the best way to prepare? For us, the first thing to do is to really to ground yourself in what you're okay with, right? Because you're going to need that grounding as people are trying to talk you into coming or talk you into staying or talk you into this or that. So establishing what you're okay with first.
Yeah, I would say put on your holiday turtleneck. And just like
your favorite cup of cheer,
take a moment to say what I'm going to decide ahead of time. I'm going to think through, what's important to me. What do I really believe is important for me and my family members as we go into a situation with people who may not have the same exact ideas. And that's no matter if it's pandemic or not. Sorry, most of us going into family situations, there are going to be other things that you disagree on. They maybe not be as like present and salient as like masking and vaccination, but there's always going to be something that is going to come up at a family gathering that's going to be a little controversial. So even more with this, it's important, like you said, to think through ahead of time so that you're not trying to make those decisions or arguments in the moment.
Yeah. So am I okay if half of the people are unmasked?
Right.
Am I okay if many of the people are unvaccinated? Am I okay kind of regardless of how it goes? And I think about some of the past holidays where after we have gone, this is pre-COVID, right? So I have 4 kids, and often when kids are around other kids, there's sickness and yuckness. And it felt like every time we left a family occasion, it was like one of the kids got sick.
Right.
And that was just sort of part of the deal, you know? It was like, I knew at the end of the day, what mattered to me on the holidays was that we got to spend time with family and friends. And
Right.
so, you know, if my kids were really sick and contagious, then we obviously stayed home, and that is its own sort of set of grievances that we'll talk about here at the end. But I think it's realizing what is important, right? Is it important that we still go to see my family,
right?
Even if we don't stay the whole time, right? Maybe it's the most important thing that we show up, and if you're really uncomfortable and you are vaccinated and you want to wear a mask,
right.
just stay for a little while, drop off, you know, a little gift or whatever it is that you tend to do on the holidays, and then leave.
Yeah.
Or if it's the alternative, then I think it's moving into that second step after you've established this is what I'm okay with. Then you have to have clear and kind conversations about the expectations.
Right.
So these are things we should be doing now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ahead of you know, the major holidays that are coming up.
Yeah.
We need to start having some clear and kind conversations about expectations. So how could a person have clear and kind conversations about those expectations?
That is probably where it gets tough, right? Like, so once you've got your first step, that's what makes it you able to be clear.
Yeah.
Right. And then you can decide, this conversation is not going to be an argument.
Yeah.
It's not going to be one of us trying to convince the other one that they're right or that they should change their mind. It's just going to be, this is what I'm okay with.
Yeah.
And I understand that you have a different perspective. And, you know, like, I don't judge you for that, but it's, you know, the two things are probably not going to be able to work together this holiday season.
Yeah. So,
you know, this is what I'm comfortable with, and this is how it's going to go for me. I hope you're okay with that. And I still love you and wish we could see each other, but in this situation, you know, or whatever it is, you know, whatever it is that you're going to be communicating.
Yeah. So let's say that the conversation is that you are unvaccinated and you don't necessarily think masks are a thing that need to happen.
Right.
So I think in the same way, the clear and kind conversation is, hey, here's where I'm at. You know, I don't think vaccines are the answer, and I'm not vaccinated. And so I'm planning to show up. Is that okay with you? That might be also a hard conversation because some people may not be okay with that either.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think as you're thinking about having these clear and kind conversations on both sides, it's then the last step for us is then managing our emotions when people don't necessarily leave that conversation agreeing with us.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily, you know, do exactly like we want them to do, right? So we enter into these conversations thinking, I'm going to change their mind. And at the end of it, they're going to believe what I believe.
Right. Not going to happen.
That's not it. So then how do we manage those emotions of sadness or anger or disappointment? Or, you know, I've had some conversations with clients over the last year and a half that it's really rocked their world, right? To have conversations like this with people that they thought they knew. Yeah. So how do we help folks manage those emotions that inevitably come over the holidays with all of these changing things going on?
I don't know.
Just kidding. Isn't that why you're here? Come on, Deb. Contribute.
Sorry, I just thought that would be funny.
Yeah, it would be perfect.
We're supposed to know.
In your sweater vest.
Well,
You're ready.
Let me
hone the power of the sweater vest.
If you know me, you know I'm not a turtleneck person at all.
Yeah,
so
I'm starting to have
different.
I feel like I can't breathe.
Okay, so managing your emotions, I think that just being ready for them, right? Like understanding that, okay, I'm going to have this conversation. It's going to be difficult. It's probably not going to go the way that I hope it would. Like, we're not going to come to a conclusion where it's like, everybody's going to get together for the holidays and everybody's going to get what they want. It's just probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
So prepare yourself to respect your own boundaries and their boundaries. But with that comes maybe the loss of what you had envisioned holidays, the nostalgic, perfect holiday to be like. Make room for things to be different or change, and also just kind of take care of yourself through those emotions instead of doing, the things that we normally would do to push them away or avoid. Instead, just say, okay, I'm just gonna let myself feel this and then move through it, push through it.
So for the person who's watching, that's like, I already know, my family members are not going to be okay with this or that.
Yeah.
What's the point in having the conversation?
Well, do you have an answer to this? This is not a question we talked about.
Yeah. I think there's probably a lot of people who avoid that conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Because they want to avoid the negative feelings.
Yes.
And they think talking about it doesn't help. This is the story of our lives as psychologists, right?
Absolutely.
Everybody comes in and they're like, talk therapy is a waste of time because it's not going to change anything.
Yeah.
And the real value in clear and kind conversations is about setting boundaries.
Yeah.
Right? It's telling people where you are and what you're okay with, but it doesn't mean that they're going to just be okay with it.
Right.
And so the power is building the relationship or understanding where other people are in their relationship, right? It doesn't mean it's all going to be peaceful and harmony. Right.
Yeah, but by just avoiding it, then we set ourselves up for ruminating on the negative experience, making judgments about the other people, being very negative toward the people who aren't behaving the way that we wish they would behave so that we could have our perfect holiday, right? And we have another little video that we're going to talk about what happens when we are in conflict with someone and we just get into a really negative headspace about them. We stop kind of wanting to nurture that relationship or do things that engage with that person because it just feels too emotionally difficult because we have these negative kind of impressions of them. So we'll talk about that in another one.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one because we've already kind of talked about it a little bit and I think it will be really powerful.
Yeah.
So I think as I'm thinking about going into spending time with someone who may disagree with me, or maybe there's just one person who's going to be invited to the holiday gathering that you're in disagreement with. I think if this person isn't a person you should have a conversation with, I think you can just sort of strategically spend your time at the holiday just avoiding that specific conversation with that specific person, right? So you can kind of just go into it knowing like that's just not going to be a topic that I bring up because I don't want to have that, conversation. And if that person brings up the conversation, you can say, actually, I just don't feel like I want to engage in that today. And then just kind of walk away.
Yeah.
I think preparing ahead of time, though, to have conversations with the people you can, who you feel like need to know your boundary, can respond, maybe not the way you want, but at least appropriately to that conversation. And then maybe taking some time to allow yourself to feel before, during, and kind of even after, maybe you schedule some time to debrief with a close friend after the holiday, just to kind of allow space for those emotions that may come.
Yeah, I think preparing and kind of thinking through it, working through it ahead of time is key instead of just hoping it all magically goes well.
Like a Hallmark show.
Never. It doesn't. And even in a Hallmark show, there's usually some kind of conflict that has to get resolved really perfectly at the end.
It always is perfect at the end, with smiles and turbulence. All right, so we're establishing what you're okay with, then having clear and kind conversations about expectations, managing our emotion. Those are 3 pretty good steps, I think.
Yeah, good job.
We did it. All right, until next time, make sure you check out the other video that we're going to do.
Happy holidays. Bye.